All right, check. So yeah, Vyfinance, that's what we're talking about today. Welcome. Nakamoto Crypto. I'm just waiting for Steven to join me on the live so we can talk about this new Cardano Dex that is super dope. Yeah, I'm just waiting on Steven to join the live. Go live, go away. All right, welcome, multimillionaire salute, Oscar Crypto. Yeah, I'm just waiting on Steven to join so we can talk about this native Cardano Dex Vyfinance. All right, so this is the video I did about them about a year ago. Well, more than a year ago now, 2021 to be exact, December 27. Yeah. What up, guys? Nakamoto Crypto here. Today we gotta talk about Vyfinance, Cardano's very first DeFi project that is set to become to Cardano what Yearn Finance's Wi-Fi is to Ethereum. Stay tuned, like and subscribe. Let's get to it. So, Wi-Fi is simply going to implement yield farming, bringing it into the Cardano ecosystem where you can lend your money and earn interest on top of it. They are also implementing this system called an auto harvester where you can deposit your cryptocurrencies into any international markets and then hedge it to let your money pretty much work for you. You can later on become your own bank. You can also use your cryptocurrencies as a mining power and see how much your rewards can grow from there. DeFi is coming into the Cardano ecosystem. You can also, with Vyfi later on, be able to pay in fiat using your cash. If you don't like crypto and the DeFi, you can still earn interest and participate in any Wi-Fi hedge fund without having or owning any crypto at all. So they plan to be very transparent with this. Now, the system is fully decentralized. They are based in Australia, so they are planning to implement a KYC less system where there's no KYC, just over the counter trading. This hopefully will not come back and bite them in the future if the Australian authorities decided to regulate Vyfinance, as this project is based in Australia. The team is pretty simple. The founder, Stephen Ward, you've seen some of his videos on YouTube. He is the current managing director and the CEO of Vyfi. His co-founder is also their marketing officer, Jack Cohen, and you have another 5 to 6 members, which all have different roles. Now, the app looks pretty simple. Vyfi NFT vaults have already launched. If you want to, you can stake your Vyfi NFT purples for 30 days, connect to your Nami wallet, and then you can earn your rewards from there. These are the top wallets that are currently holding their NFTs, have a total value locked of 465K right now, and each NFT is costing around 678 ADA, where you can earn 1.2 VIFA tokens every single day if you stake your 678 ADA. Now they have a light paper and a white paper at the same time. If you look at the tokenomics, Cardano token scan registry, the top holders are pretty much the ViFi team themselves. Currently, they are holding 98% of the total supply of these ViFi tokens. The entire supply of the ViFi tokens you can look at on Measly Swap is 450 million ViFi tokens. 98% of this is currently withheld by them, which is 441 million tokens. But don't panic, this has a valid reason for it. If you take a look at their white paper, this is what it says. In the beginning, there will be a large supply that will enable yield farming for an extended period of time. So amongst this supply, 85% of these ViFi tokens will be locked in for yield farmings. So in order for you to earn them, you simply have to yield farm to earn more ViFi tokens. After that, about 8% of that supply will be locked to their treasury, controlled by the governance token, and then the team will receive a 2.5% share of the supply, which is next to nothing, and a fair distribution, and this will be vested over a period of 4 years. Now, their extended market cap at the launch will be 0.5%, which is 1.5% of the current supply, depending of how their ICO pretty much perform. This would give them a market cap of 6.7 million tokens at launch, and this is the tokenomics. I will leave these links in the description box below for you to check out, and let us know in the comment section below whether or not ViFi has a fair tokenomics distribution. Now, as for their light paper, this is what they said. They are introducing this thing called an inflation, and it's Reggie Reg, yeah, salute. Now, just an AMA with Vyfinance. This is a native Cardano Dex. If you look at them on DeFi Llama, I think it's number 3 now. So their CEO is coming on. I'm just waiting for him to join me so we can talk this native Dex. They asked me to cover them in terms of, AMA, ask me anything. So yeah, we're going to have a sit down with them today. I'm just waiting for the CEO to come on, Stephen. Yeah. Says since ownership of the token is the only way where you can stake at the Vyfi bar, there is an inbuilt distributive income from holding this Vyfi token. As a percentage of all these fee investment earnings on the site will be used to purchase these tokens on a weekly basis. The price of Vyfi will then inflate with use of this platform. The more they use the platform, the more the price of Vyfi will inflate. This liquidity provision payout ratio for the yield farms will then decrease over time, which in result will reduce the current supply of 450 million Vyfi tokens as time passes. They will also implement a burning mechanism to accelerate this, to burn more Vyfi tokens so that the value will go up. This they are going to intend to launch with a raffle attached to this burning mechanism, similar to what PancakeSwap and Binance is doing with their Binance token. So the whole idea of this project, this Vyfi token, is just to be able to stake it, yield farms, DeFi derivatives. You know what Yearn Finance is to Ethereum. Vyfinance is planning to become with Cardano. The only issue with these projects is that as they become more and more expensive, people get drawn less and less to these projects simply because the tokens are just way too expensive over time. Like Vyfinance, previously they minted about 35,000 Vyfinance tokens, and currently a single Vyfinance costs about 31,000 US dollars. This is insane. This is a lot. The token has grown a lot. If you bought it around July of 2020 when it was at $1,000, obviously you would have become a millionaire. But let's be honest, what newbie is gonna buy a single project at $1,000 per token? So Vyfinance from the get-go had this handicap of just being way too expensive. Not many people own YFI right now, but with YFI and their 450 million tokens, you can earn it through yield farming, DeFi, NFTs, and all of that good stuff. Right now, if you want to buy a ViFi token, you can on the only working Cardano Dex currently, which is Muesli Swap. You can simply connect your Nami wallet to Muesli Swap, and then you can buy your ViFi tokens. So again, with the top holders, the second wallet holds about 650k, almost a million ViFi tokens, and then you got a third wallet which hold over 350 million ViFi tokens. With these Cardano projects, they are mostly in their infancies, so you're gonna wanna take a look at who's holding these tokens, who are the top holders, whether these guys are gonna dump on you or simply this is a legitimate project that will work. ViFi seems legit. They are mainly focusing on DeFi instead of DEXs, so hopefully everything goes well for the Vyfinance project. If it does, definitely you are going to hear from this project in the future as they will prosper. 2022 is going to be a big year for these Cardano projects. Hopefully they will launch in time where people are just going to start using them for the greater good of the Cardano ecosystem. Now, the only problem I have with these projects launching in 2022 is this right here. If we hit a bear market, most of these projects are going to withheld because trust me, you don't want to be the project launching on a bear market, as everybody will be exiting the crypto market. Most altcoins will be down 70 to 80% and they will lose their value. The interest in crypto will just go down. If you are a project launching next year, make sure you are doing it where the bull market momentum is still continuing. With that being said, what are your thoughts on the ViFi tokens, Cardano's DeFi? Let us know in the comment section below. Like up the video. All right. Still waiting on Stephen. Emailing John back and forth to see if Stephen can come on. It was supposed to be this morning, but yeah, now we're still waiting on him. Yeah, so let's see what we can do. Right, so this DeFi Llama, let's see, boom. So here you got MinSwap as the #1 DEX with $51 million in terms of total value locked TVL. Indigo comes in second, and there you have it, Vyfinance with $16 million locked. This is dope, and I think they went mainnet about a couple weeks ago, somewhat. Liquid Finance comes in there. DJED, Cardano's native stablecoin, Wing Riders, Muesli Swap. This is the first DEX functioning DEX that went live around September, October 2021. I thought this one was going to steal the show, but obviously, it turned out to be MinSwap. Then you have Sunday Swap also, a lot of hype anticipating Sunday swap. I think their token distribution had a bit of problem, but they kind of caught up on later on. But yeah, it was similar to what Uniswap did. Tokens were airdropped to the people. ADA, Optim Finance. There's a lot of new Cardano Dexes out there, Fluid Token, obviously, and all these other ones right now. Yeah. So I have covered them end of 2021 when the bull market ended, when all of these projects was launching. Even still hold my Vyfi tokens. Yeah. All right, looks like John is sending Steven the invite link right now. I'm just waiting on him to come on. And yeah, we're going to talk Cardano. All right, let's replay that joint before Steven comes on. Let's see. First DeFi project that is set to become to Cardano what Vyfinance's Wi-Fi is to Ethereum. Stay tuned. Like and
Bear with me, guys. We're just waiting for Steven.
So, Wi-Fi is simply going to implement yield farming, bringing it into the Cardano ecosystem where you can lend your money and earn interest.
Brian R says, "What is up with Meld Finance?" Yeah, I haven't looked into Meld like that. All of these projects, like when they launched back in 21, right? It was towards the end of the bull market and beginning of 2022, most of them. So I kind of, lost touch a bit because, I was doing Binance Smart Chain DeFi instead because things were taking too long for these projects to come out. But yeah, I will definitely look into Meld and also, Liquid Finance. I still hold my tokens. I still got my Vyfi. I'm like one of the earliest Vyfi holders. I still got my Vyfi tokens like since, I don't know, December 2021, beginning of 2022, pretty much. Yeah.
On top of it, they are also implementing this system called an auto harvester where you can deposit your cryptocurrencies into any international markets and then hedge it to let your money pretty much work for you. You can later on become your own bank. You can also use your cryptocurrencies as a mining power and see how much your rewards can grow from there. DeFi is coming into the Cardano ecosystem. You can also, with Vyfi later on, be able to pay in fiat using your cash. If you don't like crypto and the DeFi, you can still earn interest and participate in any Wi-Fi hedge fund without having or owning any crypto at all. So they plan to be very transparent with this. Now, their system is fully decentralized. They are based in Australia, so they are planning to implement a KYC less system where there's no KYC, just over the counter trading. This hopefully will not come back and bite them in the future if the Australian authorities decided to regulate Vyfinance, as this project is based in Australia. The team is pretty simple. The founder, Stephen Ward, you've seen some of his videos on YouTube. He is the current managing director and the CEO of Vyfi. His co-founder is also their marketing officer, Jack Cohen, and you have another 5 to 6 members, which all have different roles. Now, the app looks pretty simple. Vyfi NFT vaults have already launched. If you want to, you can stake your Vyfi NFT purples for 30 days, connect to your Nami wallet, and then you can earn your rewards from there. These are the top wallets that are currently holding their NFTs, have a total value locked of 465K right now, and each NFT is costing around 678 ADA, where you can earn 1.2 Vyfi tokens every single day if you stake your 678 ADA. Now, they have a light paper and a white paper at the same time. If you look at the tokenomics, Cardano Token Scan Registry, the top holders are pretty much the Vyfi team themselves. Currently, they are holding 98% of the total supply of these Vyfi tokens. The entire supply of the Vyfi tokens you can look at on Measly Swap is 450 million Vyfi tokens. 98% of this is currently withheld by them, which is 441 million tokens. But don't panic, this has a valid reason for it. If you take a look at their white paper, this is what it says. In the beginning, there will be a large supply that will enable yield farming for an extended period of time. So amongst this supply, 85% of these Vyfi tokens will be locked in for yield farmings. So in order for you to earn them, you simply have to yield farm to earn more Vyfi tokens. After that, about 8% of that supply would be locked to their treasury, controlled by the governance token, and then the team will receive a 2.5% share of the supply, which is next to nothing.
All right, so Stephen will be on in 10 minutes. Looks like I sent him an email, but he never got the invite somehow. So I'm double checking with John. John said that Stephen would be on in 10 minutes. So I sent the link to John to send it to Steve so he can join us. He'll be joining us hopefully in about 10 minutes or less.
And a fair distribution, and this will be vested over a period of 4 years. Now, the extended market cap at the launch will be 0.5%, which is 1.5% of the.
Hang on, looks like I got Stephen on. Stephen.
There you go. Now you should be able to hear me. Hey, mate, how you going?
How's it going? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Apologies for my tardiness. I didn't have the invite in my calendar.
Nah, it's all good. It was just me and John going back and forth behind the scenes. Since you told me I'm in New Zealand, you in Australia, I was like, "Yep, time frame perfect."
You're in New Zealand. Whereabouts in New Zealand are you?
Auckland.
Oh, Auckland. Wow, that is.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's fairly close, but it's actually not. I'm in Melbourne.
Oh, I see. Yeah, my elder sister and my baby sister both lives in Melbourne. They've been staying there for like 10 years now. So yeah,
beautiful.
no,
So you've
great,
been?
beautiful city, man. We're planning to go there.
Yeah. Where are you from originally?
West Africa.
Whereabouts?
Originally from Senegal.
Senegal. There's quite
Yeah.
a few Senegalese in near where I live in Melbourne.
Yeah,
We had quite a large
lot of them, man.
Senegalese. That makes sense that your sister is there as
Lot,
well.
lot of basketball players and soccer players.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
thank you so much for having me on, mate.
yeah. Yeah, so Wi-Fi, I've been holding on to your tokens for almost 2 years now.
Oh wow, thank you.
So I was just replaying this video to the people because I've made a video about Wi-Fi. I think it was December 26th or 27th of 2021. I really liked what I seen. I watched one of your AMAs about 2 years ago. You was talking to some guy just breaking down the decks and how your roadmap was really clear to me. So I invested, still held on to it. But back then it was only Muesli Swap pretty much. We had the concurrency issues, Cardano's.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Towards the end of a bull market. That's why when I made this video, I even mentioned it in it. I was like, man, a lot of these decks, I'm worried that we headed into 2022, which is gonna be a bear market. It's gonna be a big problem for these guys to, in terms of liquidity and whatnot, once their mainnet dexes go live. But you guys did a phenomenal work. I was just looking at DeFi Llama right now. That's amazing. 16 million
Yeah,
in
thank
TVL.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
thank you. Yeah,
congratulations.
we couldn't have asked for anything more. I'll be honest, it's you always have to think of it within context, right? Our context is the Cardano ecosystem. So 16 million puts us in third place in the Cardano ecosystem, which in the first month is absolutely insane. We weren't expecting that. It's been like a month and a week. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm seeing how dark I am. Just one moment. I'll go turn on a light. 1 second.
Oh, good.
Let's see if that improves the situation slightly. Sorry, I've been a hermit for the last few months. I've kind of just been sitting in my house. So I've got my beard going. I've got my long hair going. I look like I'm a vampire.
You look like Steve Jobs in the basement. Genius
Yeah,
as
exactly.
always.
You have to sit in the basement and get work done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to say thank you to the Cardano community overall. It's been an absolutely incredible experience. We definitely integrated a lot of new ideas and a lot of new technology into our decks. We knew that we had something special, but it's always nice when the rest of the community also sees that we have something special, right?
Yeah.
How has your experience been using the decks?
Man, it's amazing so far. I've been going back and forth with it because I got my Nami wallet and whatnot connected. But it's pretty dope, man. This non-custodial LP farming stuff that John had sent me a couple of days ago. I was looking into it. I was like, this is innovation. That's really cool, man. Because what do you call it? The music swap and order books and whatnot. The idea of people just waiting on their orders to get fulfilled, people get sick of that style of, I like swaps.
Yep,
how you
I like
guys set
swaps
up
as
your
well.
layouts. Exactly. How you guys set up your layouts is amazing.
Thank you. And that's
and
that's something that, we're really proud of that stakeless LP farming. The fact that a new user is able to just come directly onto the decks, press a couple of buttons, and they instantly start farming. It also saves a lot of transactions. So let's say you provide liquidity to 6 pools, right? You don't then have to go off and stake that liquidity to 6 separate farms. All of that liquidity is automatically farming as soon as you get the LP tokens themselves. And it means that when you harvest all of your farm at once, right? You don't have to go through and harvest 6 separate farms. All of it comes through instantaneously.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, given the issues that not Muesli Swap, Sunday Swap had, if you remember, towards the end of 2021, with the concurrency issue. Have you guys completely came over that now?
Yeah, concurrency isn't really a problem anymore for Cardano. Like, we've worked out that hurdle. The biggest technical hurdle that we faced was we've had a lot. It's taken us 2 years to build it, so I can tell you it's been 2 years of technical hurdles. I would say one of the most difficult things that we had to work out was how we were going to manage all of the volume, right? So because we're limited to a certain size for the transaction, right? Your transaction can't be above a certain amount of kilobytes. When you're packaging transactions from your DEX, you find that you essentially have an upper limit of the number of swaps that you're able to manage on any given block, right? So what we did to sort of assist with this, and I think it's best to use it in comparison to what other DEXs are doing in Cardano. In Cardano DEXs, we have this thing called a validator. And essentially, a validator takes the transaction for the swap and it sends it to the blockchain, right? Now, in MinSwap, for example, or in Wing Riders, they've got one validator, which means one validator accepts all of those swaps and then puts them through to the blockchain. The issue with having only one validator is that a validator's got a limit of about 20 to 25 transactions per block, right? Depending on how you set it up. And I should also add, I believe Sunday have 3 validators. So Sunday have a few more. We designed ours completely differently, and instead we have a validator for every single liquidity pool, right? So every liquidity pool on our DEX is able to manage around about 20 swaps per block, which means if you were to go to the maximum capacity, and I should add that this is a theoretical upper bound. We haven't actually been faced with it yet. We have done testing on it, but that was on testnet, so we don't know how it would perform in real life. It might be a little lower than this in the mainnet, but on our testing, we were able to perform around about 250 swaps per block.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's really good. That's dope. And also the bridging, you know, Milkomeda, I see them doing tremendous work in terms of connecting other chains to Cardano. So you guys can grab some of that liquidity as well. Have you guys tried like Milkomeda in terms of bridging to the Binance Smart Chain? Because I've seen those chains are larger and they have huge people out there using them on a daily basis. I've been covering a lot of Binance Smart Chain projects and less Cardano projects, mainly because of, you know, liquidity issues and whatnot, popularity. Have you guys also looked into Milkomeda?
So cross-chaining is something that is, I think, I'm not going to say essential, but it is important for any project, right? It allows you to expand to a larger audience in general. We're already on Milkomeda, so if you go to Blueshift, which is a DEX on Milkomeda, we're already bridged there, and we're actually already bridged to Polygon, Ethereum, and BNB. So you can already bridge our token to those chains. We don't currently have any active functions on those chains yet, so you can't go farm us on BNB or you can't go farm us on Polygon. You can farm us on BNB though. So the Blueshift's DEX allows you to deposit Cardano and allows you to deposit Vyfi, and you can farm and earn Blues token for doing that. Our next set of plans is to build what we call an auto harvester. An auto harvester is essentially a function which allows users to just put in one token, and the auto harvesting system automatically goes and puts those tokens into farm and then harvests that farm for you and then reinvests it back into liquidity, right? So you as a user would say, okay, I want to engage with Cardano Dex tokens, right? So let's say MinSwap, Wing Riders, Vyfi, Milk, and Sunday, right? You would put, let's say, 1,000 Cardano into the auto harvester, and the auto harvester would automatically put 200 ADA worth of liquidity into MinSwap, 200 ADA's worth of liquidity into Sunday, Vyfi, Wing Riders, and Milk. And every time they need to be harvested, it'll automatically harvest and reinvest those harvests back into that liquidity, right? So all a user has to do is put your Cardano into the auto harvester and wait, right? Essentially, we've simplified that entire process so you don't even have to farm yourself. You can just let the machine do it for you. Now, this system is split into a few phases of construction, but essentially the third phase of construction is to cross-chain this entire system to create cross-chain liquidity strategies, right? So you would approach our DEX and you would say, okay, I want to engage with Ethereum DEX tokens. You would put Cardano into the pool on our DEX, and then that system will automatically take that and farm that for you on Ethereum DEX tokens. And we want to also create the system vice versa. So you could be on Ethereum and you could say, oh, I want to engage with Cardano DEX tokens. So you could put, let's say, one Ethereum on that side, on the Ethereum chain, and then our auto harvester will beam that over to Cardano and then put that into Cardano Dex tokens for you and then deliver the farm back to the Ethereum chain, right? This system I'm calling liquidity beacons, because essentially you've got a beacon sitting on a chain and it's shooting liquidity out to other blockchains to take advantage of liquidity across different chains, right? So that's actually something that we're going to be proposing in Catalyst, right? Like, we're going to be building it anyway, regardless of whether we get the Catalyst, but there's no reason of not trying for
we've
the
been
Catalyst.
we've been waiting for Project Catalyst forever. Yeah.
Yeah. So we may as
the
well
thing
try.
about Cardano is, peer-reviewed scientific research. The developers, they have to, consult A, B. They got to make sure everything is cool first before they launch it. It's like it's
Absolutely.
been Cardano's biggest hurdle, but yeah, it's been our biggest blessings too, because we don't have Solana issues pretty much when it comes to chain.
Yeah.
Look, they are super fast. They have all this great technology, but then they have scaling problems and all these kind of other issues. Whereas Cardano can just layer twos, can just come in here and help the whole blockchain scale pretty much.
Absolutely. And Solana shuts down all the time. So that's another bit of a disadvantage. So yeah, we definitely want to be looking at cross-chaining is one of our next priorities, right? With the auto harvester. The other big thing that we've created for our DEX, which I also want to have a chance to talk about, is layer 2 liquidity farms or layer 2 liquidity pools, sorry. So because we have stakeless LP farming on our platform, it means that you actually keep those LP tokens in your wallet at all times. You don't need to put them anywhere to farm. So because you keep these tokens in your wallet, they're no longer just a token that exists for the purpose of putting into a farm and then locking away. They're a token that can actually exist and have the value that it contains utilized, right? Because that token is made up of 2 underlying assets. It's made up of, let's say, 50% Cardano and 50% vyfi, if it's the Cardano vyfi liquidity pool token, right? So what we do is we've created a second layer liquidity pool. So that is where you take your liquidity pool token, you match that with Cardano, and you put it into liquidity, right? That way, there's 2 impacts of this. Let's talk about both impacts. Okay, actually, I'll share my screen. I think that'll be the quickest, easiest way to do it. One moment. Let me just set up my screen so it's ready to share.
Yeah, because I had a couple questions about the harvesting too. I do a lot of farmings on MinSwap and that. And the thing I noticed is that you don't have the ability to, for example, if I'm providing liquidity for 2 or 3 LPs, if I click harvest, is there a way on vyfi Dex where I can just click harvest and all 3 automatically you can get your money back, as opposed to just one, you know what I mean? One LP,
yes.
you click harvest, yeah.
Yeah, so our system is automatically harvests every one. You don't even have the option to harvest one.
Nice.
Right.
That's really good.
So our system doesn't even let you pick individually. Our system will automatically put them all together and do you the full payout in one single transaction. So that's another very strong advantage to our system. So I've got a little wallet up. Let's make sure that I've just got a little bit of Cardano in there so that, yeah, I got like 35 Cardano. That's enough to show my point. Okay, so if I share my screen, let me show you how easy our system is to use. So can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So what we do is very simply, we've got a few options, right? Here we have, let's say, the Art of vyfi LP. Now we can add liquidity to this as per normal, right? So I'll just add liquidity on both sides. I'd confirm that transaction, the liquidity goes through. We also have a zap function, which makes life a little easier. You can pick whatever liquidity pool you want, and you can just zap in Cardano, and you'll get the liquidity pool token as well, right? Now, as soon as those liquidity pool tokens hit your wallet, so here's the liquidity pool token that's held in this wallet, for example. This is a layer 2 LP, which we'll talk about in a moment. So here I've got 90 ADA and I've got 26 million LP tokens, which is about 90 ADA worth of LP tokens. Now, what makes our system so cool is that as a new trader, I can actually purchase LP tokens directly off the DEX, right? So let's do the Vyfi. So this is how we look at, this is LP tokens. It says Vyfi underscore the pair underscore LP to let you know that it's the LP token. So it's the LP token on the Vyfi platform for ADA Vyfi. So I can use my ADA and I can directly purchase these LP tokens. So I could purchase, for example, 10 ADAs worth of LP token, right? Now, as soon as I confirm this, and I'm not going to confirm this because I don't want to bring this up and put in my password and things, because we are live. But as soon as I confirm this, it's going to go through, it's going to trade. And as soon as those tokens arrive in my wallet, I'm going to automatically start farming, right? So my estimated daily rewards will automatically go up. Now, at the same time, if I want to exit a liquidity position, you've got your classic mechanism, which is removing the liquidity, right? But because we've got our L2LP tokens, we can actually just sell our LP tokens directly to the market, right?
Wow.
That's AADA. So let's say we have Vyfi ADA. I don't have any in this wallet right now, but I had about, 1.2 million will be for ADA, right? So I have 1.2 million LP tokens in my wallet that I'm farming, and I decide I don't want them anymore. Instead of going through the process of removing liquidity and then selling half of that liquidity for Cardano, I can just sell the LP tokens directly to the market and get my Cardano for them.
Wow.
How easy is that?
That's really, that's super easy. A lot of Dex has been having that kind of issues as well. I'm just reading through the comment section. Muddy Bones, Mr. Muddy Bones, shout out to Muddy. He goes, so auto harvester equal a single auto compounding pool across blockchains. That's pretty smart, Stephen.
Thank you. I think it's a bit smart as well. So from the big thing to realize is that when you engage with an auto harvester, you are actually taking on the risk of the underlying assets. You can think of it as as equivalent to an index fund in stocks, right? An index fund randomly buys 15 stocks from a sector that you're interested in, right? The auto harvester is going to randomly buy 15 LP tokens from a crypto sector that you're interested in, right? And these tokens are going to be farmed and are going to be earning income, which is going to be delivered back to the system itself. So the theory with index funds, and it's a really simple theory, right? I don't want to sit there and manage a stock portfolio with 20 stocks at once. That's a lot of work. Just like I don't want to sit there and have to manually manage liquidity in 20 different tokens at once. So what I can do with an auto harvester is I can say, well, this auto harvester is looking after, let's say, metaverse tokens on Ethereum chain, right? And I know that I want to be in metaverse tokens on Ethereum chain. So I'm just going to put 10,000 Cardano into metaverse tokens on Ethereum chain. And now I don't have to worry about any individual token. I know that I've just got access to Ethereum metaverse risk, right? And that's a system that is sorely lacking, in particular on Cardano, which is just an aggregator that allows you to access a bundle of risk rather than you having to select and manually manage all those risks individually. So that's something that we're really excited to bring to the ecosystem. And I should add, before we go cross-chain, it is going to be launching on Cardano first. So we are going to be doing it native to Cardano before we launch a cross-chain, because we need to make sure it works on Cardano before we can make sure it works on every chain at once.
When I read you guys' white paper back in 2021, around December-ish, before I made that video, I compared you guys a lot to Liquidfinance.
Well, we're a bit different.
Now I see the huge difference. You guys are like, innovation. That's pretty dope what you guys doing, man. And also,
thank you.
You know what's been going on lately in the Cardano ecosystem? This meme coin craze, right? There's one that is quite fairly more popular than Husky token. I'm talking about Snack. Have you guys looked into Snack? And because they as much fun as meme coins are, they also bring in a lot of volume to your dexes. Have you looked into them? Adding them into creating liquidity pairs with the Snack ADA or something like that on Vyfi?
Snack is already our third most traded. Is already our third most traded asset.
Nice.
On our platform. And if I go back, I'll share my screen again. If I go back to our site and we look up Snack, we've got 385K liquidity, currently with 150% APR. So you're getting paid 132% for providing Snack to liquidity on our platform. So I would say if you've got some Snack that you want to provide liquidity with, we're currently offering a very high APY for that. So I highly recommend coming over to our site and giving it a look. Not financial advice.
Yeah, I hold a lot of Snake doing it on MinSwap, but I'm gonna be migrating them to Vyfi. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely chuck a couple in Vyfi for sure. Cannot.
This one asked about KYC, Eric.
KYC, Eric, in Australia. Yeah, look, KYC I don't quite know where that's coming from. It's more of a serious issue for DEXs in America right now, because America is starting their crusade against crypto, as we've all seen recently with the SEC. Joseph Longo, who is the head of the Australian equivalent of the SEC, which is ASIC, the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, he's essentially come out and stated that they were going to bring out a white paper that was describing the regulatory framework under which crypto was going to be managed in Australia, and that was supposed to be released this year. But Joseph Longo has come out and said that we're actually going to continue consultation until 2025, until they release the final framework for crypto regulation in our country. At the moment, the regulatory framework in crypto for Australia is a bit behind America and the EU, I will be honest. But in general, yes, I do agree with what he's saying, in that by the time we reach 2025 and that regulation comes in, there's almost no doubt that they'll be requiring KYC for DEXs. I would be shocked if they didn't.
Yeah. You heard that, Eric? So, I mean, there's lack of regulatory clarity everywhere. I mean, crypto, look, we're not criminals in crypto, man. We just a far advanced tech. I was looking into ANZ. Stephen knows what ANZ Bank is. I was looking into their.
I worked at ANZ for a long time. Why were you looking into ANZ?
Because somebody keep advertising them to me, saying, it's a no coiner. Somebody who never held
you're in
crypto.
New Zealand, of course.
Yeah. And they're like, well, you're sleeping on ANZ. It's 0.025% yearly yield. I was like, dude, do you know what DeFi is?
Yeah.
You don't know what DeFi is, do you? Like, if I can just bring them over to DeFi, they can eventually find something like a DeFi on the Binance Smart Chain side, or even something like Vyfi, where they can come here and harvest and realize how much gains they made.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do want to put a little bit of caveat around that. The return that you'll be getting from a bank is going to be much safer than what you're getting in DeFi. So you're not going to have as much fundamental underlying price risk. Just be aware of that.
Yeah.
So I used to work as a retirement advisor within ANZ, right? And I would always recommend that it's very much about your risk capacity. If you're our age, I'm 30. If you're around about our age, we've got time on our side. We're not too, we can earn back money. If you lose your money your money that you're investing with between now and 35, it sucks, absolutely. But guess what? You've got another 30 years to make it back, right? Whereas if you're someone who's 65, you're heading towards retirement, putting all your money in DeFi could be a bit of a risky play.
Yeah, that's retirement. Yeah. That's obvious. Retirement. That's retirement funds. Right? So
yeah, right.
So why Vyfi, Stephen? I mean, let's talk crypto in the first place. What year did Stephen get into crypto and said, you know what, I'm just gonna do this crypto thing? What year have you discovered it?
2016. Sorry, 2016. 16. But I discovered it earlier than that. I just rather than buying crypto itself, I started doing leverage trading on crypto in 2015. And then I took some of my profits from the leverage trading and I actually used it to buy crypto itself and get into it. From there, I essentially started using a lot of DeFi. I noticed a lot of problems in DeFi, and that's why I designed Vyfi, right? That's why we designed our system to try and solve a lot of those problems that we saw. And those problems were, stuff like user interoperability, the amount of effort it takes for a user to get from I have tokens and I have just BNB in my wallet to being in a farm. At the moment on BNB in particular, that's a 5-step process with 2 sets of approvals, sometimes 3 sets of approvals if you need to swap into the second token as well. Whereas if you're in our platform, it is as simple as 1 swap and you can start farming, right? Or 1 zap and you can start farming. 1 single transaction, you're already in a farm. So there's an example of like simplifying that entire process down so a user doesn't have to be as technically proficient to be able to engage. Another example was my disdain, I guess I'd say, for the design of DEX tokens, right? DEX tokens always are just hyperinflationary. They don't have any control mechanisms that go around it. And they just inflate to hell, basically. So we implemented a buyback mechanism, which is our bar, which basically uses fees to automatically buy back Vyfi from the market based on trades that take place. So 0.1% of every trade that takes place on our DEX is going to buy Vyfi. And furthermore, we also have an emissions schedule that's designed for 21 plus years. So our entire focus is to create long-term sustained farming opportunities for liquidity providers on Cardano that they're going to be able to use as a source of income for many years into the future. Whereas most DEXs, when they're designing their tokenomics, seem to design their tokenomics with a time horizon of 2-3 years, rather than a time horizon of we actually want to be around for a long time.
So you actually have a deflationary token, your native token DEX.
It's not deflationary, no. We've got a buyback mechanism that allows the opportunity for it to become deflationary if our volume becomes large enough. So at the moment,
you're taking them out of the circulating supply pretty much.
No. We're actually redistributing them back to holders of Vyfi through the bar. And that's our distribution mechanism. So in a kind of, we are taking them out of supply, but that's an interpretation rather than a reality. What you do is you take your Vyfi and you stake it into the bar. Once you stake your Vyfi into the bar, you get minted a token called X Vyfi. Now, X Vyfi represents your proportional ownership of all the Vyfi in the bar. Whenever these fees are served to the bar, we essentially take these fees, convert them to Vyfi, put that Vyfi into the bar, but we don't mint any X Vyfi when it comes to a serve. So if I was to use a real world example, let's say there's 100 Vyfi in the bar with 100 X Vyfi minted. So every X Vyfi is worth 1 Vyfi. Our DEX is working, trades happen, and then we get fees worth 200 Vyfi that get served to the bar. Now the bar has got 120 Vyfi, but there's still only 100 X Vyfi that's been minted. So when I go back to the bar to burn my X Vyfi to get my Vyfi back, I'm going to get 1.2 Vyfi back instead of 1. In other words, I've made 20% on my Vyfi just by holding X Vyfi, right? And that system all works in the background. So it's just operational in our DEX. Our bar is using fees to buy back and distribute to the people who have minted X Vyfi at the bar. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is deposit your X Vyfi into the bar. Deposit Vyfi into the bar, receive X Vyfi, and then you can even take that X Vyfi and do liquidity mining on our platform with it. Right? So you can even take that X Vyfi, match it in liquidity, do liquidity mining, and your X Vyfi is also naturally appreciating through the bar's mechanism whilst you're liquidity mining at the same time.
That's dope. Just to get into your LPs, I'm gonna be buying more Vyfi tokens. I went back to my Nami wallet. I realized I've been holding on to Vyfi for like 2 years now. The token's just sitting in my wallet, so might as well do some yield farming.
Absolutely, might as well get involved, right? And that's the thing. We've got a lot of compound farming strategies that exist on our platform. L1 LPs, L2 LPs, the bar, merging the bar with LPs. We've got multiple arbitrage opportunities between, for example, layer 2 liquidity pools and layer 1 liquidity pools. What are the APRs? Let's go have a look.
Yeah, shout out to
share my. I'm gonna
shout out to Smart.
share my screen. Good day, Smock. Let's share my entire screen again, and let's go check out some APRs. The one that I'm really happy with, so SNEC is 150%, right? So SNEC is very high. The one that I really like at the moment is YAG or IAG, Iagon. They're currently sitting at 74.46%. So they're doing, that's a very nice pool. They're also offering rewards to the people who stake in our pool. They're offering rewards in YAG through their own reward system as well. So there are also dual rewards on this. We have quite a few dual rewards pools. So as an example, SNEC, just to go back there, SNEC also pays SNEC. So there's paying out 22,418 SNEC a day to this pool.
I'm getting into that one.
What about this? WMT, we currently got 64% on WMT. So WMTs are one that we want to get some more people on because it's paying better than all the other pools for WMT. Agix is 92%. Meld is 58%. Shen 32%, just shy. Kopi is almost 90%. So Kopi is also a really good one. And Kopi is also offering Kopi every day. I believe it's 427 Kopi. So that's how much we got it, but that should be going for a while. We've organized that with the team. Milk is offering 84% or 85%, just shy of 85. So we've still got some very strong. We've still got some very strong APYs here. And if we go to Taptool, so on Vyfi we've got 88.34% on Vyfi. And I should also just share our token has done very well in the last few weeks. We're up almost 600% in the last 3 months. So I don't know if you've been following our token's price. Let's go to MinSwap.
Crazy. That's insane. Yeah, I just discovered like a couple of days ago, John started emailing me and said, hey, we want to come on. We want to come on your channel. We want Steven on there to talk Vyfi. And then I went and looked at it. I was like, man, I missed the boat. I wish I bought more.
Well, you had some, so you didn't entirely miss the boat.
Yeah, I still got some. Lucky I didn't sell. But now I'm just waiting for a little bit of retracement because you guys are catching a lot of steam now. Because I can see even on DeFi Llama, like number 3, largest DEX in Cardano, you catching all the volumes. People are like Vyfi. Even on Twitter, you guys are blowing up.
Yeah, we're actually the second largest DEX on Cardano. I just want to put that out there. So we've got the second most liquidity. We overtook Wing Riders about a week ago. And then there's Indigo above us, which do CDPs. And then, of course, there's MinSwap. So the fact that we've gone from essentially, the underdogs, I guess you'd say, because we definitely were the underdogs. So let's be honest.
Yes.
We were. To go from being the absolute underdogs to being the third app on all of Cardano is insanity. I don't have words to express how shocked I am and how happy I am at the same time.
And you still have a chance to take that number 1 spot because remember, MinSwap was running the show for a while, and then beginning of 2022, MinSwap came out of nowhere, stole the show. Everyone thought it was Sunday. I thought it was going to be Sunday Swap, but you know where they are now in terms of people been trying them, impermanent losses and all kinds of stuff, issues. But man, I'm definitely hope that you guys can pull this one off because in a bull market, especially we're approaching the Bitcoin halving now. In a bull market, a lot of volumes are coming over here now.
Yep, that's what we're looking forward to. And what we really want to get together is those auto harvesters before the bull market arrives. At least the auto harvesters on Cardano. So there's at least Cardano native auto harvesting before the bull market comes, so that there's a place for all the new users who want to engage but don't know how to do it yet to be able to come and begin basically dipping their toes in the water very easily, right? We want to be a platform where a new user can arrive, click 2 buttons, and you're in an auto harvester. With 1 click, you've engaged in 10 different tokens. And with the other click, you've just bought your first ever farm on our own platform, right? So 2 clicks, you're in 10 tokens and your first farm. And all it's taken is 2 clicks. Right.
Simplicity. That's what people like. Simple stuff. Simple.
Exactly.
If it's too complicated, people are not gonna like it. And I kind of see like Cardano, I have a question now for you, Steven, honestly, because you guys are the devs, you know, you in the background deving in that. What is the issue in terms of EVM style that Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum that have adopted? Well, over here we have the standard UTXO model and whatnot. Is the Ouroboros style of coding and that, is it just too hard for developers to, let's say, leave Binance Smart Chain or leave Solana and come over here and build stuff on Cardano? I have yet to see it. Is the tech too difficult? Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know if difficult is the right word. A good way to describe it is, a good analogy to use is language, really, like real life languages, right? You're an English speaker. You speak English. If you want to go live in another country, the first thing you're going to think of is, well, can I speak the language there? And that's not saying you're not willing to learn another language, but there needs to be a good enough reason for you to say, okay, I'm going to go to France, live in France permanently, and learn to speak French and incorporate into that society, right? Like, there needs to be a good enough reason. Maybe, you know, an oil company's like, yeah, we got an oil rig off the coast of France. We're going to pay you $500,000 a year to work there. Then you go, you know what? I'll go learn some French. Why not? Right? Now, the same thing with the blockchains, right? If we think of a blockchain as a country, each country has its own language, right? Every blockchain has its own language. Now, the difference between the EVM chain languages and Cardano, or the Cardano-based languages, right, is like the difference between Arabic and Chinese. I'm talking like exact opposite languages. It's not like English and Dutch. It's not like I'm going to the Netherlands and I can sort of, you know, give me 6 months and I'll probably work most of it out because it's fairly similar languages, right? Or Italian and Spanish, you know, which are basically the same thing. They're totally different. So the impetus to get developers to move from where they are now to learn this completely different new language, there needs to be a strong financial incentive to do it, right? And at the moment, that financial incentive doesn't exist, which is why it's been so hard to draw in developers from those chains.
Yeah, I noticed that too, because EVM start like everywhere, mainstream crypto pretty much, you know, they got all the volumes, they got everything, and I'm wondering how come Cardano still haven't been able to capture that crowd yet, you know?
And it purely is that, right? Building, to give you an example, we're the first DEX that's been released on Cardano in over a year.
Wow.
That just lets you know how difficult it is to build a DEX on Cardano, right?
Because my Cardano community, you heard it from Steven. That's the reason why I kind of left it alone for a bit, because we was waiting and waiting. Content creators, you know, we want to talk about everything, you know, because Cardano, it changed our lives, man. We've been holding on to it since 2019, 2020, DCAing, and Shelly came out successfully. We started staking, and then September 2021, Gogan, we went live. But then concurrency issues, this and that. We kind of missed the boat when it comes to bull market wise in terms of, you know, price action. Cardano was supposed to do way better than it did, but it still did better. You know, come on, if a token price goes from 2 cents to $3, that's a lot of thing. But I was, I started slowly investing into Vyfi. I bought the Vyfi token. I bought Liquid Finance. I went over there to get some Sunday Swap tokens and all these other DEXs. But after that, it was just kind of the quiet storm. I'm like, when are we going to take off? We need something that come over here and compete with Binance Smart Chain, one of those large DEXs. But we haven't been able to break those doors yet.
And that's what we're trying to do. So, and that's something that you might notice when you use our DEX. Our DEX has a lot more of a Binance DEX type feel. You know how the MinSwap DEX, and that is a good thing. They've got a very uniquely Cardano feel. We kind of tried to get ours to feel more like the DEXs on other blockchains so that we could try and capture that market. You know, we've also got vaults where we let other projects stake their tokens or NFTs, just like Binance does with syrup pools, right? We call ours vaults, they call theirs syrup pools. We've got a lottery. We've basically tried to make it feel like you would be feeling when using DEXs on other chains, so that when we get new users from those chains come to our DEX, they feel familiar with it And at the same time, they suddenly realize, oh my God, I can do stakeless LP farming. Oh, I can actually hedge my impermanence risk by engaging in layer 2 LP farming. And I can actually buy liquidity pool tokens directly from the market. And they've got a distributive mechanism where I can deposit my vyfi, get another derivative token X vyfi, and boost my farming using X vyfi. So when you are faced with an interface that is familiar, but you're suddenly given all these new tools that you've never had before, you get a lot of excitement because you're like, oh, wow, there's a lot to explore here, right? And I think that's part of the reason why we've become so popular in this short period of time since we've launched. It's because people that have come to have a look at our site have discovered so many things that they haven't seen before that they just start experimenting and playing around with it, right? Because they want to see, what is this?
Yeah. And your Dex looks clean. It's like very easy to navigate around. I was playing around with it this morning. I was like, man, this is amazing. And yeah, John's just been emailing me saying, yo, we need to come on. I was like, yep, we need to set it up. But yeah, now finally I'm glad it happened today, man. And
so, my mate,
also stable coins. Because every chain has a solid stable coin that has bringing all the volume. Why Cardano? I know we got DJet in that, but how come we haven't got that massive caliber stable coin yet? And yeah,
this is a really deep rabbit hole, what you're asking me. Okay, I don't know if that's public. There's like, okay, so there's like some, I need to think about what I can and can't say here, because there's definitely some information that isn't allowed to be shared. Okay, so one of the big things that stable coins require are a large amount of liquidity, right? If I don't have large amounts of liquidity, then I'm not able to sustain a stable value because the arbitrages aren't going to be large enough to be able to maintain the price. Because essentially, algo coins require arbitrage. The biggest problem that we have with RUSD and JED at the moment, like the real problem, and this is, something that people just aren't really addressing, and I don't know why, is that it costs you 25 Cardano to mint and burn, right? If I have to spend 25 Cardano to mint and burn, well, there's the entire profit from my arbitrage. The only time that arbitrage becomes economically viable is when it's already gotten so far out of whack, right, that I'm making more than 25 Cardano from the arbitrage, one. And secondly, because of it being so high, I'm only going to arb it down back to the point that it becomes profitable to within that 25 Cardano gap, which means that I'm always going to be arbed above or below the actual stable, the actual point of stability, right? So that fee is something that really needs to be worked on. At the same time, I understand, projects need to be able to run and earn their costs. I run a project myself, so I'm not being judgmental on the fact that they have a fee. I'm just telling you, like, the impact that fee is having on the stability of those tokens. Also, another big one is the Cardano Foundation didn't really step in and provide that liquidity that was required, right? We needed, for this to really work, we needed someone like the Cardano Foundation or IOHK to come in and launch it with 250 million Cardano.
Yes.
Right?
Binance kind of did the same thing with the BUSD. They had to step in and bring in muscle so the dApps and DEXs can really help. I remember that back in 2020. They really stepped up.
Absolutely, right? And we needed Cardano to do the same thing. And they didn't. They didn't step up to the plate, and they didn't provide the liquidity to give this chain a stable coin. They essentially said, no, we're going to let it up to the community to do it. And then, of course, now that they let it up to the community to do it, they didn't garner enough liquidity. Those coins aren't very stable. And now Charles is trying to distance himself from JED when really it was his decision for it to fail, right? Like, he put his name behind it, and all they had to do was put their money where their mouth was so that it would work. And then they didn't.
Yeah,
right?
I was really hoping for Charles to, use his muscle around to make DJet help DJet at least be more successful. And they were also building their own native Cardano stable coin. I think it was algorithmic or something to that nature.
Yeah.
Was supposed to come
that was JED. That was JED. They built JED.
That was
Cody
JED, yeah.
And IOG. Yeah. It was a combined effort.
Come on, Charles. We don't need alien technology yet.
We just need 250 million Cardano in JED. Like, just actually get on it. Right?
Yes.
To be fair, and this is where I start entering realms that are a bit more risque and I shouldn't be talking about. There are a lot of reasons and a lot of events that took place within the Cardano Foundation that didn't necessarily make that option immediately available to them at the time of Jed's launch. And as a result, I'm not as angry as I would be if I knew that it was done out of malice. It hasn't taken place out of malice. They haven't done it because they don't want to support the ecosystem. It's happened because of some poor decisions made on behalf of the Cardano Foundation that made the capacity to do so a lot more difficult for them to manage. I think that's the nicest way I can say it without giving away information I shouldn't. Right? Basically, let's just say a few people at the Cardano Foundation stuffed up, and that's why they weren't able to get the money in.
Yeah, at least you was honest with this one, Stephen, because we do need a large stable coin. I mean, if Binance have BUSD, you go to Ethereum, they got USDC and Tether and all these large things. We should have a native stable coin that are so solid because they bring in liquidity, they bring in volume. People want safety when they harvesting when they're doing their liquidity pairs and stable coin and whatnot. They a lot of money come into through those tables, which brings me to the next question about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Do you see them, because banks have all the customers that we want in DeFi? Do you see any kind of integration if they come over here, putting Vyfi on, exposing Vyfi to them so their customers can come and use it? Because that's all we need. These $7 trillion BlackRock guys and the central bank digital currencies where they linked with every single bank on the planet, they just haven't had access to crypto yet.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's a really complex question again, much like your stablecoin question. So let's take this piece by piece. Let's start with the differences between CBDCs and crypto. A CBDC is designed to be run by a government so that it's able to perform certain functions in place of the fiat currency that's used by that government within its general day-to-day function, right? So you're going to say, I have a function of paying bills within my society. I'm going to let people pay bills in my CBDC. Now, what worries me about CBDCs is the way that you can actually put control and, I would say, algorithmic control into the money. A really classic example of that in the real world, and I would use Australia's example, and I'm pretty sure New Zealand use a fairly similar system as well.
Yeah,
it's where we have, for our native population, a lot of them receive welfare, and a lot of them receive welfare cards, and on those welfare cards, they're only allowed to use money in the ways that the government determine that they're allowed to use money. So they're not allowed to, for example, buy alcohol with their welfare card. Now that's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's a lot of control, centralized control that goes in that stuff.
Exactly, and that's absolutely ridiculous, right? You shouldn't. That's not welfare if you're telling people how they can and can't spend their money. That's I don't know. It's slightly better than slavery, but it's hyper control, right? It's hyper control, and CBDCs are going to be focused on pushing that control through our society, and that is antithetical to the philosophy of crypto, which is to take away that control from the centralized powers and give it back to the individual. So whilst I agree with you that it might allow people to get used to the underlying technologies and in actually using these systems because they're going to be integrated more in a day-to-day fashion, I personally don't see this as a way for legitimizing cryptocurrency. I actually see this as possibly causing more damage because people will begin to associate cryptocurrencies with heavy centralized control, which is actually the opposite of what we're trying to do. Yeah. Oh, I think it's a bit fuzzy.
Yeah.
Damn. My internet seems to be working. I can hear you again, though.
Yeah, it's getting a bit fuzzy. I don't know why.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah,
I just can't see you.
now. I can hear you, but yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, I see. Yeah, my internet here. It's raining because it's 4 seasons in a day here.
Wi-Fi's
yeah.
so hard for Ada. I don't call it fighting for Ada. I, as an individual, I'm fairly blockchain agnostic. I began my DeFi journey on Ethereum, and then I moved to BSC as my major DeFi blockchain, and I still do a lot on BSC and Ethereum, right? So I would more just say that Cardano presents a unique opportunity in that it's very difficult to build something, but once you successfully built something, you're essentially you're unique. The technology is hyper unique, right? I can't build a DEX with this design that we've just done on really any other blockchain except for maybe Ergo. The implementation of stakeless LP farming, layer 2 liquidity, those are unique implementations that we've been able to do because of the Cardano blockchain. And for myself, when I seek out anything like a DEX is a great example, right? How do I differentiate myself with a DEX on Ethereum? That's very difficult to do. Whereas on Cardano, how do I differentiate with myself? Well, the main thing on Cardano to differentiate yourself with a DEX is actually build a DEX, because that's incredibly difficult to do and very few people have done it. And secondly, there's a lot of new technology there that we can take advantage of to create very new and exciting systems that we can't do on other blockchains. And I want to be able to take advantage of that, so that at the very least, like, I don't know if it will succeed or not, but at the very least, we've built a proof of concept of what you can do. Like we've shown you, Cardano is incredibly advanced. This is an example of how we can build a DEX that's more advanced than any DEX on other blockchains. It's easier for the user. It's got inbuilt systems to help hedge your impermanence risk. It uses those inbuilt systems for hedging your impermanence risk to boost your farm. It's got inbuilt distributive mechanisms, and it's got one click to farm and one click to supply liquidity across every single pool, and there's no staking required to be able to earn rewards. Right?
That's dope. Yeah, now shout out to Muddy for that question too. Yeah. Go on, Stephen.
These are all unique integrations that become possible because of Cardano's technology. So I don't say why we're fighting so hard for Cardano. I wouldn't put it like that at all. I would more just say I saw technology. I saw the opportunity to use that technology to build something new and creative. And it happened to be Cardano, right? So that's where we've integrated ourselves, and that's the community I'm a part of now. But as I said, I'm not a maxi. I'm sorry if that now, I bet you my price is going to drop 15% now I said that. Jesus. I'm not a maxi. I never have been a maxi. I'm very much I believe in interoperability between chains. That's why we want to do cross-chain auto harvesting. I think the way that we're going to get the community or the blockchains to be the best that they can be is if we can create an ecosystem where it doesn't matter what blockchain you're on, you can access the functions of all the other blockchains at the same time. Right? And if we're able to build this large interoperable community, let's get people off of these islands, because at the moment everyone exists on these islands where they hate each other, which is ridiculous. I mean, why would I hate Arbitrum or hate ADA or hate Binance or hate Ethereum? They're all different. They've all got advantages and disadvantages. Some are slower, some are faster, some are more expensive, some are cheaper. You need to find the one that's right for you for what you're doing. But I don't hate them. They're all trying to innovate. We're all trying to do something. We're all trying to do the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
We're all in this for the same goal. I don't know why we hate each other so much.
Yeah. Unfortunately, crypto's culture, everybody, they like their chains, they like what they like. It's like crazy, man. And you also, besides EVMs, you also have another competitor leading up to the next bull market. Distributed ledger technologies, with this hash graph stuff. Do you see technologies like Hedera hash graph and that? Do you see them coming as a competitor as opposed to just UTXO model, EVM over here? Do you see that coming as the third now to compete in terms of chains and grabbing in volumes and dexes and whatnot next bull cycle?
I hope so. I want to see. I quite like what they've done at Hedera. I should say I'm not a very big fan of where the money's come from, and I'm not a very big fan of the heavy centralization aspect of it, similar to Sol. Just highly, highly, highly centralized. That said, though, I use BNB, so I mean, I'm also a hypocrite. But I would definitely say that overall, any of these technologies doing well is good for the ecosystem. Now, and back to my original point of not existing on separate islands. If Hedera is doing well, I intend to make an auto harvester for it and go access the liquidity gains and give those gains in liquidity mining on Hedera to our community. Right. So I don't look at that as a missed opportunity. I look at that as an opportunity for us to create indexed LP farming for the Hedera chain on Cardano. That's just good. Great. I hope it does well. I hope we do well. I hope everyone does well.
Because their technology is crazy, man. They're talking about 400,000 transactions per second and all this stuff. But yeah, I've been looking into that, man. Yeah.
They've got very high throughput, right? But with that very high throughput at the moment, you give up any sense of decentralization. So you know what do you like? I mean, it's really as a matter of pick your poison. Are you happy to wait a minute and actually be decentralized, or do you want to do it right now and it be entirely centralized?
For me, they always, you in order to have the yin, you need the yang as well. Some people are like they're hardcore decentralization. Some people are like hardcore centralized, because centralization in DeFi as well. There's a controversial figure in DeFi. I don't know if you heard of this man. I think you know him, Richard Hart, and the controversial chain Post-Chain. What are your take on him and the success of Hex, as it 10,000x and it did what he promised, and it pumped as high as it outperformed every single layer one chain altcoins. But then now he's got his own chain. What are your take on that in terms of having a highly centralized system, but he actually claims that he's protecting it from outside?
Yeah, look, my take on it is unique. No, I need to be careful here, because this really,
I'll put you on the spot.
It can really piss off crypto people if you say the wrong thing, right? So I have spent my career.
You're all right, Steve. You're right. Richard Hart likes this channel, so you're all right.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
So I've spent years working in business. Businesses perform functions. That's their job, right? My job is to do X. I go out and I cut logs and I sell logs, and then you pay me for those logs, right? I perform the function of cutting logs. I don't inherently have an issue with a business performing a function. That's the point of a business, right? So if the business performs that function to a good degree, it's got sound regulations around it, and it's being managed legally and in an auditable manner, then for the most part, I don't mind the concept of essentially a closed blockchain, right? That being said, I don't think that a closed blockchain should be the forerunner in the blockchain markets. And this is now philosophical. If we all get used to using closed blockchains and centralized blockchains, CBDCs are going to become far easier to integrate into our society, because people are going to be very comfortable with using centralized digital assets. And that is something that I personally would prefer avoiding, because I hate CBDCs. To me, they are the most terrifying technology that governments have ever gotten a hand of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess my opinion is, in theory, yes, it's fine. In practice, it's a slippery slope to start pushing hyper-centralized digital currencies.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because he is a controversial figure, but he just claims that whatever the banks are doing, he can do it better. And as as is, most crypto founders and whatnot, the idea is to just onboard people and show them a better way. And I truly believe through crypto, we can do it. If there's some level of centralization where the guy protects it, even though it's like it looks sketchy and it looks risky and whatnot, but then he's kind of playing the banks in terms of them, how they've been controlling our money with centralized finance, where they managed to make the system work. Yeah.
There's something to say to that, though. Voyager and Celsius both said the same thing, and they didn't end very well. Banks are really complex, like really complex. They're not just savings and loans anymore. They are derivatives. They are complex financial structures. They are accounting firms. They do so many functions, right? And just any one of those functions is a business by itself, whether that be clearing services, clearinghouse services, whether that be currency exchange, whether that be lending, whether that be savings, whether that be stocks, purchasing stocks. There's so many services in a bank, right? And every one of those services has got specialists that have spent their entire career figuring out and implementing solutions for that service. When I hear a person say, I by myself am going to provide you all the services of a bank better than a bank does, my question to him is, well, how many actuarial scientists do you have? How many MBAs do you have? How many financial engineers do you have? And how many econometricians do you have? And is your team of actuarial scientists, econometricians, PhD economists, are these people that are actually designing these systems, have they done it before? Right? Have they actually worked in banking, or are you just dealing with mathematicians that have just come out of university and like, oh, I've done maths before, I'm sure I can do this, right? When one person tells me I can build a bank better than a bank can, I look at them and I say, no, you can't. Otherwise, you would have fucking otherwise you'd be a bank. Right? Because I can tell you, he's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart. He's doing it to make money.
Yeah. The thing he has done so effectively, though, is to capture a crowd to say, yo, are you in crypto for the tech, or are you in crypto to make money? If you're in crypto to make money, I can create this token. It might be highly centralized, but I have the ability to pump it so high to catch the attention of people. And if you'd say that 99% of people into crypto, what they're in the game for. They're not holding, for example, the vyfi token for the tech. They want pumpamentos. They want to know, they want to calculate, okay, circulating supply is this much. That's how much the vyfi max supply is. Based on that bull market, we can hit $25, $50 a token.
That is definitely, but it's things like that is what's giving the SEC the ire that they're having, right? And why the SEC is coming after us. Have you heard about the back in the I believe it was 20s or 30s, there was a fellow who basically bought all the onion futures from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and he took delivery of essentially all the onions in America, and he stored them in a warehouse, in a few warehouses across America. And because he bought all the onion futures contracts and he bought all the onion supply, essentially the price of onions skyrocketed because no one had onions anymore. He bought all of them, right?
Yeah.
And then he basically spent the next year, because onions are fairly non-perishable, he spent the next year or two just slowly selling the onions out of his warehouse at a massive profit, right?
Wow.
That's now illegal. You're not allowed to purposefully buy every contract on a futures market so that you can withhold supply of a good in return for pumping that good's price for resale later, right? That's an illegal action.
Yeah.
Now, when you're building centralized systems which contain what you call pumponomics, right? They're generally done through a system of withholding supply artificially. Now, it's very different to purchasing onions on a futures exchange. I'm not saying it's illegal, and I'm not saying that it's still completely unregulated, of course, right? But it's actions like those that are causing the SEC to really come down heavy-handed on us. Because when you design a token to mathematically pump, one, you don't know when your algorithm fails. Cough, cough, Do Kwon, cough, cough. And
Luna.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of not knowing when your algorithm fails, you're essentially going out and telling people, if you buy my asset, you're definitely going to make money, which in finance is a big no-no.
Security.
Well, it's not just security. It's also just invest. It's in Australia, and I think in America as well, they're called safe harbor laws. So essentially, when I'm dealing with clients or I'm dealing with people with a financial product, I have to ensure that all my interactions with an individual meet these safe harbor laws. And safe harbor essentially means I'm legally covered for anything that I've told you, and you're legally covered for any actions that you take under my advice. Right? So there's a requirement of, and essentially it's not contract law, but it's like a contract, right? There needs to be a meeting of the minds. You understand that my advice is general in nature and that I can be incorrect. What I say is not always going to be right, and what I say can lose you money. You understand that you're seeking out my advice and services because you would like assistance, but the decision is ultimately yours to make, right? I'm not making this decision for you. I'm not your fund manager, right? I'm just a person that's discussing investments with you as an advisor. They're called safe harbor laws. Now, as a company running financial services, you need to ensure that your interactions with clients meet safe harbor laws. That's why we, for example, don't tell people where to put their money when they're engaging with our DEX. We say, we can't tell you that. Go explore, go have a look. We can tell you how it works, but we can't tell you which is better or worse.
All right. Now, have you heard about Hex? Because this guy has a question about Hex. He thinks you don't know about Hex.
I probably don't know about Hex, because when I read Hex, I think of hexadecimal. So, shoot. What's Hex?
Smart, yeah. All right. So, what else
did
is
I,
there?
Did I just drop out? Did I drop out?
No, I think it's just the connection issues in that.
No, I'm sorry about that, mate. I know a little bit about Hex. I know hex mining. I've got some friends that have done hex mining, but I don't know much about it. No.
Oh yeah. Okay. So is it possible? Yeah. Go on.
Is it possible to build an EVM without it to easily connect to MetaMask? That is what Milkometer is doing right now. So Milkometer are trying to create a system that allows you to connect to Cardano with MetaMask. So hopefully that'll be out in the next sort of 3 to 6 months.
They have Chainlink to compete with too when it comes to blockchain interoperability and whatnot.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mate,
I think
definitely.
I've been in here.
All right.
It's been an hour and 10 minutes now. It's a Sunday, so I'm going to go and
it's time.
Relax.
Thank you, Stephen, for coming on. And
so
man, it was a pleasure having you on. And maybe sometimes in the bull market or something we might do this again. So shout out to you for coming on the channel. And guys, check out vyfi. It's one of those upcoming Cardano Dexes. If we don't, the people, who's going to support them, man? So thank you, Stephen, for coming on.
And just last thing, if anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to swing into our socials. We're always there to chat. We're always there to help you through, understanding any part of our DEX. And I would also say, really importantly, if anyone has any problems with engaging, swing into our support lines and we'll help you out. We're very quick and we're very available to help people. Oh, and we froze again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, cool. All right. It's alive, guys. My internet is playing up. But that was Vyfi. Check out Vyfi. Smart Goes great interview with a different with a Cliff. Check it out. Yeah. Shout out to Smart, man. Yeah. We're gonna check out Vyfi to see where things are headed. Cardano native dexes, but I've highlighted all the problems, the good, the bad and the ugly. I wanted to do that because, you know, people in Cardano, we need to realize something, right? Crypto is catching a wave. These EVM style developers, they seem to be, EVMs just seem to be more easier. Now, Cardano, great technology and NO, but we have to figure out a way to capture that market. Yeah, if we don't, you're going to have a great DEXs, but no people to use them. But yeah, shout out to Eric Viking, man. Good, nice interview. Yo, I'm going to end the live now. Check me out. I got some more videos coming in the future. Shout out to you all. And yeah, man, salute to everybody. I have been Mr. Nakamoto Crypto, and I'm out.